All right. Hey, guys, it's Brad, College Sportscast. Coleman Scott and I have been doing some post game shows for Kentucky football all season long. He is out of town. So you got just me today. It's on my thing with College Sportscast. So okay, guys, welcome back. Obviously, this is not game day pick'em. I just kind of threw this together. So I knew Coleman was out of town, but I didn't know that he wasn't going to be able to do this until right before the game kicked off today. And then Caden, his buddy that does talking Kentucky, was at a friend's house and wasn't watching the game. So I just thought, hell, I'll just try to put something together here and do something short and sweet here for a post game show. I've enjoyed doing these post game shows this year. It's been fun, and hopefully, I have a few people on with me that has been on with us as with Coleman and talking Kentucky. So, but today's game was Alabama versus Kentucky, of course, at Kroger Field. Unfortunately, we come out on the wrong side of the scoreboard on this one, guys. They jumped out on us early, got a 21 to nothing lead, and from there, the game was actually fairly even. But we get beat 49 to 21. It is Alabama, and the game starts out, guys, and like I said, we get behind early. We have a turnover where they scoop and take it to the 1 yard line. We just don't really look ready to play at the beginning of the game, to be honest. And so before we know it, with 5 minutes to go in the first quarter, we're down 21 to nothing. All right, so Josh Hart's with me. It looks like that Clyde is with me in the chat room here, so I'll try to keep them in the chat as long as they're here with me today. I don't have the call-in thing because that's on with Coleman, but we'll do the chat and I'll put some stuff up there for you guys in the chat like that. And we'll do it that way because that's what I do on College Sportscast. So, anyways, I just, so we're down 21 to nothing before a cat can lick its hind end. And that's an old saying that my dad used to say or always says, and that's how quick it was. Anyway, we are, and from there, to end the first half, we had three opportunities down 28 to 7 to put points on the board. We drove the ball one time down. We got the ball with 10 minutes to go after they put 28 on the board. We drove the ball all the way down the field, had a very good drive, drove it down to about the 7 or 8 yard line. And we have a 4th and 1, and Stoops and Cohen decide to go for it. And I don't really understand the calls that they make sometimes in any other game. If we are not playing Alabama or Georgia, okay, in any other game, Stoops would take the damn points. And I don't understand going for it. And then the play call, I just like they basically had like 9, 10, 11 guys in the box and are coming all out. I mean, just a jailbreak. And get to him. He tries to throw it out. It's blocked, and it's batted down, which he had like 4 or 5 of them today. And that's been a problem all year with Leary. He has passes batted down. He's only like 6 foot. He's just not. He just doesn't have the height that some of these quarterbacks now. I mean, Levis last year was 6'4". I mean, he just doesn't quite have the height. But I didn't like the play call either. I really didn't like going for it. I don't even know why you would do that. Kick the field goal, make the score 28-10. I mean, that's my point. Yeah, Clyde, down 21-0 with 5 minutes to go in the first quarter. Actually, that fumble was an absolute killer. I agree with you. We're going to get to the defense, Brad White and Cohen. That's part of what I got here. We're going to get to that. But even after we didn't do that, okay, even after we didn't take the points, okay, we hold them. They punt the ball. We get the ball back to like the 40-yard line, and we have some really terrible play calls again and don't get any points. Then we get the ball back another time with like 1:37 to go, and there's no hurry up about it. I mean, the clock's ticking. There was one play that we could have snapped the ball with like 1:10 to go, and they literally let the play clock run down, and he ran because he was running for his life, run to the sidelines and throws it out of bounds, cost 20 seconds on the clock. And the play calls, when you're playing one of the best teams in the country, you've got to make short, concise play calls. 4-yard pass here, 5-yard pass there, over the middle here, outside here, screen pass there. I don't give a damn how you move the ball. You just got to move the damn ball. I'm going to make Clyde mad with that word. What are you talking about, Caden? What word? I don't understand what you're talking about. What word? Yeah, South Carolina did blow out Vandy today, 47-6, actually. And I'll get to that. Vandy is bad. I will give you that. Vandy is bad. But we had 3 opportunities to close out the half, and very likely could have at least had 2 field goals to close out the half, which would have made the score 28-13. Then we come out and score first in after halftime, and we cut the lead to 28-14. Had we had those couple of field goals, the game could have been a little bit different. And we had a chance, I think, in the second half to score once, and really, later that I thought we could have, possibly put some points on the board, and we didn't get that done either. So, it is what it is. I didn't expect to win today, to be quite honest with you. Alabama has been progressively getting better all season long. Jalen Milroe has been progressively getting better all season long. The last few weeks, they have really ramped up the offense for them. Milroe's been playing excellent. And, I didn't exactly expect a win today. I just like to see Kentucky be competitive and make some of these things games. That's, I'm not saying that, I'm not saying that we can beat the Bamas and the Georgias. I mean, Lord knows Bama and Georgia has won what? 4 of the last 5 national championships, something like that. They are at the top of the food chain, and not many teams across the country can really compete with them. There's a handful, maybe, if that. So let me get to Brad White. Brad White for 5 years has been really, really good. There's only been 3 teams in the SEC for the last 5 years that have had a top 5 defense in the SEC every single year. It's Bama, Georgia, and Kentucky. They're not doing it this year. I don't know exactly what in the crap that Brad White is doing, but it's not good. I'm gonna tell you something, Brad White. I'm gonna tell you something, Kentucky fans. You cannot sit back with no pressures whatsoever and play a zone defense against the likes of Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, great offenses, etc. You cannot do that. Today in this game, Joe Tessitore, the announcer, towards the end of the game, like there was just 3 or 4 or 5 minutes left, even he on one of the plays was like, Brad White dialed up a blitz, and he's rarely done that today. I mean, we sit back and drop 7 or 8 and only rush 3 or 4 all game long. And I don't freaking get it. I mean, what is going on? Brad White has always been bring the heat and man-to-man pressures on the outside. He did it all year last year with Carrington Valentine, if you remember, on the outside. Carrington Valentine done it all year, if you're a Kentucky fan. And this year, he's dropping back. We're not. I mean, and you these great offenses, they are going to pick you apart somewhere over the top, on a post, on a curl. I mean, out of the backfield, wherever, they're going to pick you apart. I don't understand it. Brad White has got to get back to doing what he is supposed to be doing and has always done. And I do not understand why in the crap he's playing defense like this year. It's horrible. It's horrendous. And I'm going to tell you right now, if it's not fixed soon, I know Josh has been fired Brad White. I'm not ready to say fire him because he's been, up to this year, he's been one of the best defensive coordinators in the SEC since he's been there. I don't know if he doesn't think he has the talent. I'm going to be honest with you. On the outside, when I say no pressures, we don't seem to have the outside talent that can get to a quarterback. We just don't. Not against these good teams. We just don't. We don't seem like we have a good one in the middle with Deion Walker. But he can't do it on his own, and we do not seem like we can get. I mean, Jalen Milroe today, he probably don't even need to wash his uniform. I mean, seriously. That's the truth. I mean, I doubt he needs to even put his damn uniform in the wash, to be honest with you. I mean, he was that clean. I mean, we got to him none, zero, nada. I mean, sometimes in these good games, the only way you're going to win is you got to bring the heat and disrupt their offense. You can't sit back and let them sit back in a zone and let them pick you apart all day long, which is exactly what Alabama did. All right. I'm telling you, Clyde, we're going to get to Cohen too, because I don't think Cohen has looked right this year either. Yeah, I heard Joe Tessitore say Roll Tide. He wasn't, I don't think he was rooting. Joe Tessitore is a good announcer. I love him in boxing. He's a really good announcer. I think he was just stating what was going on in the game, and they were rolling us I was after their last touchdown, I'm pretty sure. Exactly. I mean, they got behind us on 2 plays early. That was the 2 touchdowns early that got us, Josh. I mean, Josh, you're saying we hit Jalen, but that was on a run. That was on a design run, and we hit him 12 yards down the field. We did not touch him all day long. Didn't come close in the pocket. Not even close. Not really. James Bowman's with me. He says Tennessee's getting beat by Missouri right now. It's got to be early, but I mean, I'm just saying, man, with Brad White, you've got to change this up and do something damn different, because what you're doing the past 5-6 games, or what you're doing this year, maybe you were doing the same thing against the early games that were a bunch of nobodies and it didn't matter. But I'm going to tell you right now, what you're doing the last 5 weeks that has mattered in the SEC is not working whatsoever. And I'm going to tell you right now, Spencer Rattler is going to pick your ass apart if you do that next week. Mark it down. Now, let's move on to Cohen. Cohen was brought in here a second time, brought back because he had done such a good job with Will Levis and our offense the year before that we thought it was going to be a great hire. He was going to be the guy that could come in here and run an offense that would give us a chance against some of these teams. And so far, man, I'm just not that impressed. Like today, when he's trying to run the ball for 2/3 of the game, he's trying to run outside zone, sweeps. He's trying to do all this stuff, and it's not working, man. It's not working. Like, you've got to go to something else. Hit them up the middle. I mean, I don't understand. This is Alabama with 4 and mostly 5-star players all over the field. They have too much talent for our guys to get to the outside. Even Barryon Brown had trouble, and he's the fastest guy on our team. The play calls is ridiculous, and the offense on passing, move the football however you need to move the football. If it's 5-yard outs and 5-yard screen passes here and whatever, I don't care as long as you're moving the football. And on top of that, our O-line, I mean, it was like a jailbreak half the time. I mean, there was 5 guys on top of Leary before he could I mean, before he could take 3 steps. I mean, yes, Braswell, Dallas Turner, they're really NFL good players. So I get it. Clyde, you're right. We don't compete, but that's a problem. I'm not saying we have to, I mean, beat them, but we should look better than that. Josh, the way they're playing and it's at home, you're probably right. They probably will be favored. Wireman, I never said anything about us beating them, but we do need to look the part. We need to look like a competitive SEC team. We can't come in here with game plans and schemes that puts us at a disadvantage. And that's exactly what we did today, offensively and defensively. Both. Decisions to not kick field goals. Terrible, terrible decisions. At the time in the game when you are trying to make any kind of comeback and have the ball back first at halftime and could go down and score and get your hind end back in the game, those are terrible play calls. Terrible. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, I don't know what is the answer with this offensive line, but I'm going to tell you, I said this last year, and last year was his first year there. Zach Yenzer, I don't think is the dude, man. I just don't think he's the guy. We have not been the same since he stepped foot on campus, and he's just not the guy. I do not like the way he lines up and the schemes that he has. If they do some stints and do some twists and stuff, our offensive linemen get lost almost every time. All you have to do is do a stint and a little spin and a twirl, and our offensive linemen have no idea what the hell they're supposed to be doing. And I just don't understand it. I'm telling you right now, Zach Yenzer is not the dude, man. I just don't think he is. That's the offensive line coach, by the way, that I'm calling out. He was horrible last year, and I thought maybe he was making a little bit of strides. But you go back and watch the last 5 games when we're playing the kind of quality opponent that we're going to play in the SEC. Guys, we got Tennessee or Texas and Oklahoma coming to the SEC. It's not getting any easier. Right now, we've got 3, maybe 4 top dogs in the SEC that we're going to have to worry about. We're going to have 5 or 6 starting next year. If we don't start moving up the chain, we're not ever going to get there. And you have to start making calls and schemes, and you have to start coming into these things where you can do such things. Listen, I'll be the first to tell you that comparing us to the likes of Georgia and Alabama is not where we need to be. Okay? Where we need to be is the other 12 teams that's in the SEC right now. We should be competitive every single time. Okay? Now, the Georgia and the Alabamas, I don't think that we are going to win. I don't. We're not there yet. However, I would like to think that we can come into these games and have some sort of a scheme and a plan and play calls and look like an SEC team and not look like Vanderbilt. I'm just being honest against the two best teams in the league. That's where Kentucky fans are really ticked off because we're sick and tired of going up against the best and looking like Vanderbilt. No matter how much talent we bring in, no matter what we think that we've improved, when we go up against these teams, we look like Vanderbilt. And that's not okay. Which brings me to Mark Stoops. Mark Stoops, you've got some really big decisions to make. And I'm not even playing. You got to figure out if Brad White is this or if Brad White is that. Because if he is what he has been the last 5 or 6 weeks, you're going to have a difficult decision to make. You got to make a decision on Zach Yenser on the offensive line. Absolutely have to make a decision on that. You got to make a decision on schemes and how you're going to play call and what the offense is going to look like and scheming against certain teams. You can't look like that and play that way against Alabama. Next week against South Carolina, who knows? Maybe we can. But we sure as shit can't against Alabama. Josh, we were at home. And that's why we have to, like, that would be different. If we went to Tuscaloosa and played, and, and the crowd and everything else and played like that and got beat like that, maybe I might be able to swallow that a little bit better. Maybe. Clyde, I'm so sick and tired of hearing about football school or basketball school. I'm tired of it. I don't give a crap what kind of school people think that we are. I know this. I know the University of Kentucky in the last 10 years has spent an absolute fortune trying to build this football team. And they're still doing it today. And people want to throw up that they're paying Stoops the 8th or 9th best. I'm proud of Kentucky for doing that, for finally stepping up and trying to be and showing and trying to be a football contender. I don't give two shits if somebody tells me that we're a football school or we're a basketball school. I'm going to tell you right now, Clyde, you keep saying we're a basketball school. For the past 5 seasons, we sure as crap ain't looked like it. And I know that's going to make you upset, but for the past 5 seasons, we sure as crap ain't looked like it. The other night, we have as many players sitting on the damn sideline in warm-ups that are not playing as we do on the darn floor. And that's been exactly the way Kentucky basketball has been for the last 5-6 years. I can't remember the last season we had where we didn't have 3, 4, or 5 players sitting on the sideline. I'm tired of hearing that crap. It's ridiculous. If we're a basketball school, Cal better step it up, is all I'm saying. On the floor. It'd be nice to have some players that can actually take their warm-up off and play in the game. It would be real nice. I mean, everybody wants to forget 2 years ago We had one of the best teams and was a 2 seed, and we have one of the best players in the country sitting on the damn bench. Sitting in a warm-up, just sitting there, just chilling, just, what are you doing? I'm just chilling, just watching this game. It's ridiculous. Now, I'm going to go back to this Mark Stoops. He's got a lot of decisions to make. We have made strides in football, a bunch of them, but we've gotten pretty stale in those strides the last 3 or 4 years. I will say that. We're pretty much in the same spot today we were 4 years ago. Stoops has done a great job up to 3 years ago or so, but we have not been able to go to that next level. And that next level is not beating Georgia and Alabama. That next level is being 6-2 and beating the likes of Missouris and the Tennessees and the Vandys and the South Carolinas. That's what the next level is. And we just haven't been able to get there. And Stoops has a lot of decisions to make to get us to that point. And to be competitive, especially at home, against the likes of Georgia's and Alabama's. Maybe we get beat 42-28. Maybe we lose 35-24. Maybe every once in a while it's just a touchdown. But, I mean, maybe we challenge is all I'm saying. And if you can't do that and you can't make some of these tough decisions and you can't get us over the hump, then in a few years, we're going to have to make a real tough decision on Mark Stoops. Because I'm going to tell you right now, he has a really good class in defense coming in, and I hope they stick with us. And I hope, beyond all hope, that we have some people that are fast enough to play in this league on the edge and to be a game changer. We don't have those people right now. Trevin Wallace is pretty good up the middle, and he can, on the outside in the field, playing zone defense. He's pretty good going back and forth, but he can't be all over the darn field. And we just don't have those game changers on the edge. And we didn't last year. Now, I'm going to try to wrap this up with this. The next thing is South Carolina and Louisville are coming up. They're both away games. So our home season is over with. It's done. We lost our last 3. Missouri, Tennessee, and Bama, which is not good. Now we end the season with South Carolina and Louisville. On the road, South Carolina is sitting at 4-6, by the way. We are now 6-4. I think today was their second SEC win. Pretty sure. This year, maybe third, second, might be third. I don't know. I can't remember. But anyways, they have Spencer Rattler is a great quarterback. And if we can't find ways to blitz and to get some pressure on him and to, make him uncomfortable back there, he'll if we're going to play like we did today against Alabama, he will pick us apart at home. I guarantee it. And Louisville and Braun, offensive mind, might do the same darn thing. I think these are two games that we could win. Depends on how we play. Clyde, nobody said just beating Florida is enough. Nobody's ever said that's not enough. That's the reason why I'm saying all this other stuff about what we should be doing. And I'm talking about schemes and the way we're playing and everything else. That we're just not playing up to par right now. We're just not. Oh, that's a Calipari thing. Okay. I was just trying to see what y'all are talking about. I mean, Clyde, I hate to say it, but if we play defense the way that we played today, we could be. I do think both of these teams are winnable. I don't think the South Carolina team is very good at all. They have a good offense. Overall, they've been a pretty miserable team all year long. Louisville, I mean, they had to come from behind on a 2-7 Virginia team the other night. They got trounced by like a 2 or 3 win Pittsburgh team. They've had a very cakewalk schedule, and I do not think that they should beat us. However, we absolutely have to play better. We have to scheme better. We have to play call better. We have to be better as coaches. Cohen's got to script plays better. He's got to know his opponent better so that he can get a plan together that's actually going to work for that team, because the plan today on all those outside runs, I mean, it's just ridiculous. This is Alabama with tons and tons of 5-star players. I just don't get it. Take that offensive line that is really big, by the way, that we have, and block and push up the middle, and let's get some yards. I don't care if it's 4 yards at a time. Unfortunately, we probably didn't try to run up the middle 4 times all day long. I don't even know if we ran 4 plays with Ray Davis up the middle. We ran a couple with Demi and with a couple of other guys. I don't even know that we ran 4 times up the middle with Ray Davis all day long. So, I mean, I hope we go 8-4 too. I think we have plenty of opportunity here to go 8-4, and that's actually where I had us this year, to be honest with you, before the season started. So we are still on my track where I thought we would be, to be quite honest with you. As far as overall, I just didn't see us getting plummeted at home like we did. I didn't see us giving up such a lead and starting out so well against Missouri and then looking like trash for 3 quarters. There's just I just didn't see some of those things. So, yeah, Clyde, if we could win a bowl game, be 9-4, this would be a fairly successful year, even though we have looked the way we have a few of these games. I'm just not impressed with the coaching and the coaches' schemes and the way we are defending, the way our offense is running, I thought Cohen would come in and run an offense and we would look the part that would get us competitive in some of these games. And I'm not seeing that. I mean, even the Missouri game, you take out the first quarter and you look at the Missouri game for 3 quarters, we looked pathetic offensively. Pathetic. I mean, honestly, we did. The only game that I thought we played well offensively out of all these games, the past 5 or so that we've been losing, we're now 1-4. The only game that we have played well in offensively was the Tennessee game. That's the only game. The only game out of those 5 games, and we did lose that game by 6 points and looked competitive and played well in that game. That game was the defense. We gave up 254 yards up the middle running the ball, and that was on Brad White. But it wasn't on the offense. The only game that we have looked like a competitive offense against the SEC good opponents was Tennessee. That's it. That's it. That's the only game all season long. And we got 2 games left. 2 games. Defense, you take what we did against Georgia, you take what we did against Missouri the last 3 quarters, you take what we did against Tennessee, and you take what we did today against Alabama. It's horrible. And it has to stop. We cannot continue to drop back 7 and 8 guys and play this zone darn defense. It is not working. It's not working, Brad White. It's not working, Mark Stoops. It's not working. Absolutely, Clyde. That's what lost us the game against Tennessee. At home, we were competitive because we played a really good offensive game that game. And that's the only one we've done. So to look forward here, I mean, we've got 2 challenges coming up with South Carolina and Louisville on the road. We're going to have to look the part. We're going to have to play the part. If we don't, these are 2 teams who could beat us in their home environments. It's going to be tough environments, especially the South Carolina game. It's always a tough game, tough road game, and we will see. I don't want to take up a whole lot more of your guys' time today. I just wanted to do something a little bit here and talk about some of these things, but what's the old saying? Defense wins championships. Well, our defense sucks and we'll never be competitive for a title because our defense is never on that level. I mean, you know, Brad White has had some really good defenses since he's been here. This year, I don't know if it's because he doesn't feel like that we don't have any edge rushers, and he feels like that the only way he can compete is to drop back and try to, because he's never done that before. I don't like, this is not a Brad White defense the way they're playing, and I just don't understand it. And we've got to get back to that because South Carolina has a terrible defense, and we should be able to pick them apart next week on offense. All we've got to do is be able to pressure him and turn them over a little bit, whether it's turnover on downs. I'm not talking about just turnovers. Make them punt and get our defense off the darn field. So with that said, guys, I'm going to wrap this up. I appreciate you, Clyde, Josh. Wireman was on here. James Bowman was on here. Trying to think who else was on here, but I appreciate you guys being with me. And this has been my Alabama versus Kentucky post-game table. And next week, hopefully Coleman will be back with me, and we'll do a post-game after the South Carolina game next week. So we will see you tomorrow. I will see you tomorrow for my weekend wrap-up show. Y'all have a good one.